There comes a moment when you wake up and realize you've spent decades being everything to everyone, except yourself. You said yes when you wanted to say no. You kept the peace even when it tore your spirit apart. You carried the weight of other people's expectations until one day you no longer recognized the man in the mirror. And then it clicks. The people you once tolerated for the sake of being nice were the very ones draining the color from your life. At 70, I stopped explaining. I stopped pleasing. I started protecting my energy like it was the last currency I had left. And the result? Peace, clarity, and a life that finally feels like mine. If you're in your 50s or 60s, maybe even 40s, I made the mistakes so you don't have to. In this video, I'll tell you why I started avoiding people and how that decision may have saved my soul. And if something here speaks to you, subscribe, like, comment below. Tell me what you're protecting now, because your energy, it's sacred. 1. Protecting peace and energy. Imagine this. You wake up one day and realize that the life you're living doesn't feel like yours anymore. You're constantly tired, stretched thin, and surrounded by people or responsibilities that leave you drained instead of fulfilled. The things you once enjoyed feel like chores, and the quiet moments where you used to find peace are now rare or non-existent. Sound familiar? If it does, you're not alone. Most of us spend years giving away our time, energy, and attention without ever stopping to ask, what about me? The truth is, your peace and energy are some of the most valuable things you have, but they're also the easiest to lose. We give them away too freely, often without realizing it. We say yes to things we don't want to do, stay in situations that hurt us, and tolerate people who drain us, all because we think it's what we're supposed to do. And over time, this constant giving wears us down until we barely recognize ourselves. It starts with how we're raised. From a young age, we're taught to put others first, to avoid conflict, and to keep everyone happy, even at the expense of our own happiness. We learn to equate being nice with always saying yes and being strong with enduring things that make us miserable. By the time we're adults, this mindset has become second nature. We take on too much, let people cross boundaries, and stay in toxic situations, all because we think it's what good people do. But here's the thing. Good people don't have to sacrifice themselves to be good. Think about the relationships or situations in your life that leave you feeling drained. Maybe it's a friend who always brings negativity, a job that demands too much, or even family members who don't respect your boundaries. These interactions act like slow leaks in your emotional tank, leaving you feeling empty and exhausted. And yet we stay in them out of loyalty, fear, or guilt until they've taken so much from us that we barely have anything left for ourselves. It's not just the people around us, though. It's the way we fill our time, too. How often do you find yourself saying yes to things you don't really want to do, just because it feels easier than saying no? How often do you pack your schedule so tightly that there's no room for rest or joy? When we overcommit, we lose sight of what matters most. Our days become busy but meaningless, and we end up feeling scattered instead of fulfilled. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be this way. You can take back your peace and energy. You can create a life that feels like yours again. It starts with one simple truth. You matter. Your well-being matters. Your happiness matters. And protecting your peace and energy isn't selfish. It's necessary. The first step is learning how to set boundaries. Boundaries aren't about shutting people out or being rude. They're about making it clear what you will and won't allow in your life. It's saying no to things that don't serve you and yes to the things that do. It's about respecting yourself enough to prioritize your needs, even when it's uncomfortable. Think of boundaries as a way of drawing a protective circle around your peace. The stronger that circle is, the less likely you are to let things in that drain you. Next comes discernment. This is about being intentional with where you spend your energy. Who lifts you up? What activities bring you joy? What situations leave you feeling calm and centered? Focus on those things and start letting go of the rest. It might mean stepping back from certain people, saying no to commitments that don't align with your values, or even taking a break from the endless scroll of social media. It's not about shutting the world out. It's about choosing what deserves your attention. And then there's rest. In a world that glorifies being busy, rest can feel like a luxury, but it's not. It's essential. Rest is what recharges your energy and helps you stay grounded. Whether it's a walk in nature, a quiet evening with a book, or even just sitting in silence for a few minutes, these moments of stillness are where your peace lives. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty for needing them. Finally, it's about living intentionally. This means making choices that align with who you are and what you value, instead of just going through the motions. It's about curating your life, choosing quality over quantity in your relationships, your commitments, and even your daily routines. When you live intentionally, you stop wasting energy on things that don't matter and start putting it into the things that do. At the end of the day, protecting your peace and energy is about reclaiming your power. It's about saying, "This is my life, and I get to decide how I live it." It's about letting go of guilt, fear, and obligation, and choosing to live in a way that feels authentic and fulfilling. Your peace and energy are precious. They're what allow you to show up fully for the people and things that matter most. So don't let them slip away. Protect them fiercely, because when you do, you'll find that life feels different. It feels lighter, calmer, and more like you. And when you protect your energy, something else happens. You realize just how limited your time really is. 2. Time is finite and precious. Have you ever stopped to think about how much time you waste on things that don't really matter? Maybe it's scrolling endlessly on your phone, saying yes to commitments you don't care about, or spending hours worrying about things you can't control. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking we have all the time in the world, but the truth is, we don't. Time is finite. It's the one thing you can never get back, no matter how hard you try. And yet, so many of us treat it like it's unlimited, spending it carelessly, giving it away freely, and rarely stopping to ask, am I using my time in a way that truly matters? It's not just about how much time we have, it's about how we use it. Every single day, we're faced with choices about where we put our energy, attention, and focus. Do we spend hours doing things that drain us, or do we invest our time in what fills us up? Do we let distractions pull us away from the people and activities that matter most, or do we stay present and intentional? These choices might seem small in the moment, but over time, they shape the kind of life we live. The problem is, we often don't realize how precious time is until it's too late. We get caught up in the busyness of life, work deadlines, social obligations, endless to-do lists, and forget to pause and reflect. We tell ourselves, I'll make time for that later, or I'll slow down when things settle. But later isn't guaranteed, and life rarely settles on its own. The longer we wait to prioritize what truly matters, the more time slips through our fingers. Think about the moments in your life that have meant the most to you. Maybe it was a quiet evening with someone you love, a walk in nature where you felt completely at peace, or a creative project that made you come alive. These moments weren't about how much time you had. They were about how you chose to spend it. They were about being present, intentional, and fully engaged. That's what makes time precious. Not the quantity, but the quality. But here's the thing. Living with intention doesn't mean you have to overhaul your entire life or make drastic changes. It starts with small, simple shifts, choosing to spend your time in ways that align with your values and priorities. It's about asking yourself, what truly matters to me? And then making choices that reflect that. One of the most powerful ways to reclaim your time is to let go of distractions. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Social media, emails, notifications, endless entertainment options. These things aren't inherently bad, but they can easily consume hours of your day if you're not careful. Start by noticing where your time goes. Are you spending it on things that bring you joy, fulfillment, or connection? Or are you letting distractions pull you away from what really matters? Another key step is learning to say no. It's easy to feel obligated to say yes to every request, invitation, or opportunity that comes your way. But every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. Whether it's rest, quality time with loved ones, or pursuing your passions, Saying no isn't selfish. It's necessary. It's about recognizing that your time is valuable and choosing to spend it wisely. Equally important is making space for what truly matters. This might mean carving out time for the people you love, pursuing a hobby that lights you up, or simply slowing down to enjoy the present moment. It's not about cramming more into your schedule. It's about prioritizing what brings you joy and fulfillment. When you make space for what matters, you'll find that your days feel richer, lighter, and more meaningful. Living with intention also means embracing the present. It's easy to get caught up in regrets about the past or worries about the future. But the only time you truly have is now. The present moment is where life happens. It's where joy, connection, and meaning are found. So instead of rushing through your days or constantly looking ahead, take a moment to pause, breathe, and appreciate the here and now. At the end of the day, time is the most precious thing we have. It's the one resource we can never replenish, the one thing that truly defines the life we live. By choosing to spend your time intentionally, letting go of distractions, saying no to what doesn't serve you, and prioritizing what matters, you can create a life that feels fulfilling, authentic, and deeply aligned with who you are. So don't wait. Don't let your days slip by unnoticed or unappreciated. Start today. Choose to live with intention, to spend your time on what truly matters, and to savor the moments that make life beautiful. Because when you do, you'll find that time isn't just finite, it's priceless. And how you spend it is entirely up to you. And with time comes a new clarity. Not every relationship is meant to last. 3. Relationships evolve and require energy. Relationships are like living, breathing things. They grow, change, and sometimes fade over time. Think about the people in your life right now. Some relationships feel effortless, like they've always been there, bringing you joy and comfort. Others, though, might feel heavy, draining, or even distant. The truth is, relationships evolve. They require energy, care, and attention to thrive. And while some are worth every ounce of effort, others might need to be reevaluated. It's easy to think of relationships as fixed, unchanging parts of our lives. But that's rarely the case. People change, circumstances shift, and the dynamics between us naturally transform over time. Someone who was once your closest friend might now feel like a stranger. A family member you relied on might no longer offer the same support. And that's okay. It's part of life. But recognizing these shifts and deciding how to respond to them is where the real work begins. The relationships that matter most are the ones that uplift you, energize you, and make you feel seen and valued. These are the people who celebrate your wins, support you through challenges, and bring light into your life. They don't just take from you, they give back. But even the best relationships require effort. It's not enough to assume they'll always be there. You have to nurture them. You have to show up, listen, and invest your time and energy into keeping them strong. Think about the people who mean the most to you. When was the last time you really connected with them? Not through a quick text or social media comment, but in a meaningful way. Relationships thrive on connection, and connection takes effort. It's about being present, showing interest, and making time for the people you care about. It's about asking, "How are you really?" and listening to the answer. But not all relationships are uplifting. Some are draining, one-sided, or even toxic. These are the connections that leave you feeling worse after every interaction, that demand more from you than they give in return. Maybe it's a friend who only calls when they need something, a colleague who constantly criticizes you, or a family member who doesn't respect your boundaries. These relationships don't just take your energy, they rob you of your peace. It's hard to let go of relationships, especially if you've invested years into them or feel obligated to keep them alive. But holding on to connections that no longer serve you can do more harm than good. It's okay to step back. It's okay to say, "This isn't working for me anymore." Letting go doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're choosing to prioritize your well-being. Of course, not every challenging relationship needs to end. Some can be repaired with honest communication and mutual effort. If someone matters to you, it's worth having the tough conversations, telling them how you feel, what you need, and what's not working. It's about giving them the chance to meet you halfway. But if they're unwilling to grow or change, it might be time to reconsider the role they play in your life. One of the most important things to remember is that relationships are a two-way street. They require balance. If you're constantly giving without receiving, it's not sustainable. You can't pour all your energy into someone who doesn't pour any back into you. It's not selfish to expect reciprocity. It's necessary. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, care, and effort. And then there's the relationship you have with yourself. This is the foundation for every other connection in your life. If you're not taking care of yourself, if you're constantly sacrificing your needs for others, you'll eventually burn out. You can't show up fully for the people you love if you're running on empty. Self-care isn't selfish. It's what allows you to be your best self in your relationships. So how do you protect your energy while nurturing the relationships that matter? It starts with boundaries. Boundaries aren't about shutting people out. They're about creating space for healthy, balanced connections. It's about saying no when you need to, communicating your needs clearly, and refusing to tolerate behavior that drains you. Boundaries are an act of self-respect, and they're essential for maintaining healthy relationships. Next, focus on quality over quantity. You don't need 100 friends or endless social obligations to feel connected. What matters is the depth of your relationships, not the number of them. Choose to invest your time and energy in the people who truly matter, the ones who uplift you, inspire you, and make you feel loved. At the end of the day, relationships are one of the most beautiful and challenging parts of life. They bring us joy, connection, and meaning, but they also require effort, care, and sometimes tough decisions. By choosing to nurture the relationships that matter, letting go of the ones that don't, and prioritizing your own well-being, you can create connections that feel authentic, fulfilling, and deeply aligned with who you are. Because when you invest your energy wisely, when you pour into the people who pour into you, you'll find that your relationships don't just survive, they thrive, and they become one of the most precious parts of your life. And when you let go of what no longer serves you, you learn to enjoy something else: solitude. 4. Solitude is valued over loneliness. Solitude is valued over loneliness, finding strength in being alone. Picture this: you're sitting alone, the world around you quiet, with nothing but your thoughts to keep you company. For some, this moment feels like peace, a chance to breathe, reflect, and recharge. For others, it feels heavy, like loneliness creeping in and taking hold. But here's the truth: solitude and loneliness aren't the same thing. Solitude is a choice, a gift you give yourself, while loneliness is the ache of wanting connection and not finding it. And learning to value solitude over loneliness is one of the most important lessons you can embrace. In a world that moves fast and demands so much from us, solitude can feel like a luxury. We're constantly surrounded by noise, work emails, social media updates, endless conversations. And it's easy to forget how powerful it can be to simply step away. Solitude isn't about isolating yourself or shutting out the world. It's about choosing to spend time with yourself, to reconnect with who you are and what you need. It's about finding peace in your own company. But for many people, being alone feels uncomfortable, even scary. We've been conditioned to think of solitude as something to avoid, as if being alone means something is wrong with us. We fill our days with distractions, keep ourselves busy, and surround ourselves with people, even when we don't want to, just to avoid the silence. And yet that silence is where some of the most important moments of growth happen. Solitude is where you learn to listen to yourself. When you're alone, there's no one else to pull your attention away, no outside voices telling you what to think or feel. It's just you, your thoughts, and your emotions. It's a chance to ask yourself the big questions. What do I want? What do I need? What's truly important to me? These moments of reflection can be uncomfortable, especially if you've been avoiding them, but they're also deeply transformative. Loneliness, on the other hand, is different. It's not about being physically alone. It's about feeling disconnected, even when you're surrounded by people. Loneliness is the longing for connection, for someone to see you, understand you, and be there for you. It's a heavy, aching feeling, and it can make solitude seem unbearable. But here's the thing: solitude isn't the enemy of loneliness. In fact, embracing solitude can help you heal from loneliness. When you learn to value solitude, you start to realize that being alone doesn't mean being lonely. It means giving yourself the space to grow, to reflect, and to recharge. It means finding joy in your own company, instead of relying on others to fill the gaps. And when you can do that, you become stronger, more grounded, and more connected to yourself. One of the most beautiful things about solitude is that it allows you to reconnect with the things that bring you joy. When was the last time you did something just for yourself? Read a book, went for a walk, or spent time on a hobby you love? Solitude gives you the freedom to do those things without distraction, to fully immerse yourself in the moment. It's not about being productive or achieving something. It's about simply enjoying the experience. Solitude also helps you build resilience. When you can sit with yourself, even in discomfort, you learn to face your emotions head on. You stop running from the things that scare you and start working through them. You become more self-aware, more confident, and more capable of handling life's challenges. Solitude teaches you that you're stronger than you think, that you can stand on your own 2 feet, even when things feel hard. Of course, solitude isn't always easy. There will be moments when the silence feels heavy, when loneliness tries to creep in and take over. But those moments are where the real growth happens. Instead of pushing them away, try sitting with them. Ask yourself, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? These moments of discomfort are opportunities to understand yourself better, to heal, and to grow. It's also important to remember that solitude doesn't mean shutting out connection entirely. Human beings are wired for connection, and relationships are an essential part of life. But valuing solitude means recognizing that you don't need to rely on others to feel whole. It's about finding balance, knowing when to seek connection and when to embrace time alone. So how do you start valuing solitude over loneliness? It begins with shifting your mindset. Instead of seeing alone time as something to avoid, try seeing it as an opportunity, a chance to recharge, reflect, and reconnect with yourself. Start small. Take a few minutes each day to sit in silence, go for a walk without your phone, or spend time on a hobby you love. Over time, you'll start to see the beauty in solitude. At the end of the day, solitude is a gift. It's a chance to step away from the noise, to find peace in your own company, and to reconnect with who you are. It's not about being alone. It's about learning to enjoy being alone. And when you can do that, you'll find that solitude doesn't just heal loneliness. It empowers you. It reminds you that you are enough just as you are. So don't be afraid to embrace solitude. Let it teach you, strengthen you, and bring you closer to yourself. Because in those quiet moments, you'll discover something truly powerful, the ability to be alone without feeling lonely. And that's a gift worth cherishing. But there's another reason I started avoiding people. Trust. It changes. 5. Trust becomes more complicated. Trust is the invisible thread that holds relationships together. It's the foundation of connection, the quiet assurance that someone has your back, and the belief that their words and actions align with their intentions. But trust, as simple as it may seem, is rarely straightforward. Over time, as we grow, change, and experience life, trust becomes more complicated. It evolves, deepens, fractures, and sometimes fades entirely. And learning how to navigate trust, how to build it, protect it, and repair it is one of the most delicate and essential skills we can develop. When we're younger, trust often feels simple and automatic. We trust easily, sometimes without question, because we haven't yet learned the weight of betrayal or the sting of disappointment. But as life unfolds, as people let us down or hurt us in ways we didn't expect, trust starts to feel more fragile. We become more cautious, more guarded, and sometimes even skeptical. It's not that we stop trusting altogether. It's that we learn to be more careful about where we place our trust. One of the reasons trust becomes more complicated is because people are complicated. No one is perfect, and even the most well-intentioned person can make mistakes, act selfishly, or hurt others unintentionally. Trust isn't just about believing that someone will never let you down. It's about believing that when they do, they'll take responsibility, make amends, and work to rebuild what was broken. It's about knowing that their commitment to the relationship outweighs their mistakes. But what happens when trust is broken? Whether it's a lie, a betrayal, or simply a failure to show up when it mattered most, broken trust can feel like a deep wound. It shakes the foundation of the relationship and leaves you questioning everything. Can I trust them again? Should I trust them again? These questions aren't easy to answer, and the path to rebuilding trust is often long and uncertain. Rebuilding trust starts with honesty. When trust is broken, the first step is acknowledging what happened, being honest about the mistake, the hurt, and the impact it had. This isn't just about the person who broke the trust, it's also about the person who was hurt. Both people need to be willing to have honest, vulnerable conversations about what went wrong and what needs to change. Without honesty, there's no foundation for rebuilding. Next comes accountability. Trust can't be rebuilt if the person who broke it refuses to take responsibility for their actions. Accountability means owning up to the mistake, apologizing sincerely, and taking concrete steps to ensure it doesn't happen again. It's not enough to say, "I'm sorry." There needs to be action behind the words. Accountability shows that they are committed to earning back your trust, not just asking for it. But even with honesty and accountability, rebuilding trust takes time. Trust isn't something that can be restored overnight. It's something that's earned through consistent actions and behaviors. It's about showing up day after day and proving that you're trustworthy. And for the person learning to trust again, it's about being patient, giving yourself permission to heal, and allowing trust to grow slowly over time. Of course, not every broken trust can or should be repaired. Sometimes the hurt runs too deep, or the person who broke the trust isn't willing to change. In these cases, letting go might be the healthiest choice. Letting go doesn't mean you're weak or unforgiving. It means you're choosing to prioritize your well-being over a relationship that no longer serves you. Trust also becomes more complicated because it's not just about others. It's about ourselves. Trusting others requires us to trust ourselves first, to trust our instincts, our boundaries, and our ability to make decisions that protect our hearts. When we don't trust ourselves, we're more likely to fall into relationships that hurt us, ignore red flags, or stay in situations that aren't healthy. Building self-trust is just as important as building trust with others. So how do we cultivate trust in a world where it feels so fragile? It starts with choosing where to place your trust. Not everyone deserves it, and that's okay. Trust isn't something you give away freely. It's something you offer to those who've earned it. Look for people who are consistent, honest, and reliable. Look for people who respect your boundaries and value your well-being. It also means being willing to take risks. Trusting someone always involves a leap of faith, a willingness to be vulnerable, to open yourself up, and to believe in their intentions. It's scary, yes, but it's also necessary. Without trust, relationships can't grow, and connection can't deepen. Finally, remember that trust is a process. It's not a one-time decision. It's something that's built and maintained over time. It requires effort, care, and a willingness to navigate the complexities that come with it. Trust will never be perfect, but it can be strong, resilient, and deeply meaningful when nurtured with intention. At the end of the day, trust is one of the most valuable gifts we can give and receive. It's what allows relationships to thrive, connection to deepen, and love to flourish. Yes, it's complicated, fragile, and sometimes painful, but it's also worth it. Because when trust is present, when you can truly rely on someone and they can rely on you, it creates a bond that's unshakable, and that's a gift worth protecting. And the truth is, it's not just people who change. The whole world does. 6. The modern world feels different. The world we live in today feels undeniably different. It's faster, louder, and more interconnected than ever before, yet somehow it can also feel more isolating. Technology has transformed how we communicate, work, and even think, creating opportunities that were once unimaginable. At the same time, it has brought challenges that leave many of us feeling overwhelmed, disconnected, and uncertain about where we truly fit. The modern world is a paradox, a place of endless possibilities and profound complexities, and learning to navigate it requires a delicate balance of adaptation, reflection, and intention. One of the most striking differences in the modern world is the pace at which everything moves. Life feels faster now, almost as if we're all caught in a race we didn't sign up for. News travels instantly, emails demand immediate responses, and social media keeps us constantly plugged into the lives of others. There's little time to pause, to breathe, or to simply exist in the moment. The pressure to keep up can be exhausting, leaving us feeling like we're always chasing something, whether it's success, connection, or even just peace of mind. Technology, while a powerful tool, has also reshaped how we experience the world. Smartphones, social media, and the internet have made it easier than ever to stay connected. But that connection often feels superficial. We scroll through endless feeds, liking posts and sharing updates, yet we rarely have meaningful conversations. Relationships that once thrived on face-to-face interaction are now mediated by screens, and the constant barrage of information can leave us feeling more distracted than connected. The modern world also brings an overwhelming sense of choice. From the careers we pursue to the media we consume, the options seem endless. On the surface, this abundance of choice feels empowering. It's a sign of progress and freedom. But too much choice can also lead to decision fatigue, anxiety, and a fear of making the wrong move. We find ourselves stuck in a cycle of overthinking, constantly wondering if we're choosing the right path, the right job, or even the right way to spend our time. Another challenge of the modern world is the growing pressure to perform. Social media has turned life into a stage where we're expected to showcase our achievements, our happiness, and even our struggles in a way that's curated for public consumption. This constant need to prove ourselves can be draining, making it difficult to separate our authentic selves from the versions we present to the world. It's easy to fall into the trap of comparison, measuring our worth against others based on filtered images and highlight reels. And yet, the modern world isn't all bad. For all its challenges, it offers incredible opportunities for growth, connection, and innovation. Technology has made knowledge more accessible, giving us the tools to learn, create, and solve problems in ways that were once unimaginable. It has brought people together across distances, allowing us to form communities and relationships that transcend borders. And it has given us the ability to share our stories, amplify our voices, and make a difference in the world. So how do we find balance in a world that feels so different? It starts with intention. Instead of letting the modern world dictate how we live, we need to take control of how we engage with it. This means setting boundaries, choosing when to unplug, when to say no, and when to prioritize our well-being over the demands of technology and society. It means being mindful of how we spend our time, focusing on what truly matters rather than getting caught up in distractions. It also means reconnecting with ourselves and others in deeper, more meaningful ways. In a world that often feels disconnected, we need to make an effort to cultivate authentic relationships, to listen, to share, and to be present. This might mean putting down our phones during dinner, reaching out to a friend for a real conversation, or simply spending time alone to reflect and recharge. Another key to navigating the modern world is embracing imperfection. The pressure to perform, to choose the right path, and to keep up with the pace of life can make us feel like we're constantly falling short. But perfection isn't the goal. Progress is. It's okay to make mistakes, to change directions, and to take things one step at a time. The modern world may be fast, but we don't have to move at its speed. Finally, we need to remember that we have the power to shape how the modern world feels. While we can't control everything, we can control how we respond to it. We can choose to focus on the opportunities it offers, rather than the challenges it presents. We can choose to prioritize connection over comparison, reflection over distraction, and authenticity over performance. The modern world may feel different, but it's also full of potential. It's a place where we can learn, grow, and create lives that feel meaningful and aligned with who we are. It's not about escaping the challenges, it's about learning to navigate them with intention and resilience. Because when we do, we can find beauty in the complexity, peace in the chaos, and connection in the midst of it all. In the end, the modern world isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace. It's a reflection of how far we've come and a reminder of how much we're capable of. And while it may feel different, it's also a chance to live differently, to live with purpose, connection, and authenticity in a world that's constantly evolving. The world is loud, people are demanding, and your time is limited. But your peace, your energy, that's what defines the quality of your final chapters. At 70, I stopped trying to be everything. Now I simply try to be true, to myself, to what matters, and to the small, quiet joy of not needing to explain anymore. So tell me, what are you ready to let go of? What boundaries are you ready to draw? Comment below. I'd love to hear your story. And if this video gave you clarity, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Because peace isn't a gift, it's a choice, and you deserve it.